Let me share my thoughts on why I think native development is not really a good choice, especially if you're a non-developer with no programming skills. And with native development, I mean you write your app in Swift, the programming language for iOS, and in Java, the programming language for Android. One big disadvantage or one huge advantage of going with JavaScript, for instance, as a developing platform, is that it costs much less money. Uh, Either actual physical money or all time, it saves you a lot of time. So why is that? Because when you go native, you have to maintain, if you want to serve both platforms, Android and iOS, you have to maintain two completely separate uh, apps with completely different code base. And this is, of course, it takes a lot of much more time and to develop it and also to maintain that. So compare that with when you have one JavaScript platform. You have essentially one code base. It's probably you have 80 or 90% of the code is the same JavaScript code for Android and iOS, and then the 10% you have to make specifics to the platform. So this was one big benefit. This is relating to the time. Also, when it comes to money, JavaScript developers are there are many more JavaScript developers out there. It's a web-based language, and they are much cheaper than iOS or Swift or Java developers. So if you're stuck and if you don't know how to implement a certain feature, it's much easier to get a JavaScript developer and much cheaper to get a JavaScript developer than a Swift developer, for instance. Now, the second huge advantage of JavaScript compared to Java or Objective-C is, or Swift, is that it's much easier to learn. I'd like to compare Java. When you say Java is JavaScript and Java, like these are two languages, and if you are English speaking person or German speaking person, then it's similar to if you want to learn Spanish as opposed to learn Hungarian. If you have a rough idea about Hungarian, how this language is, and know a little about Spanish, you get the point of this comparison. Here I've added this how simple it is to write a console log statement, and how you do this. I think this is the easiest way to write that in Java, like public class, hello world, and stuff. I'm not saying Java is a bad language, not at all. It certainly has its merits. There are a lot of things you can do with Java that you cannot do with JavaScript. But for the purpose of creating mobile apps, and especially if you're a non-developer, in my view, JavaScript is by an order of magnitude better suited. Now, another reason why I personally think native development is not really um, reasonable for a non-developer is essentially you don't get a lot of benefits if you go native as opposed to JavaScript, because there is certainly you get a much better performance when it comes to when you make graphics intense games, for instance, when you use native technology. Like there are, if you make games there is a lot of happening on the screen, then going native is certainly a much better choice, because it's you will not get the performance when you use a JavaScript compiler, for instance. However, this course is not about graphics intensive games anyways. This is about games like QuizDuel, like Uber, like Facebook messaging apps. So obviously you can use nice graphics in these apps as well, but these are functional apps. This is not like Farmville or like any kind of civilization games where a lot of things going on. So the benefits, these are the technical main benefits of going native. They don't really bring you a lot of actual benefits when you make functional apps. Closely related are often like obviously when Apple or Android comes out with a native new feature, then it takes some time for the JavaScript SDKs to implement these native features. Some SDKs are faster, others are slower. Accelerator, for instance, is very quick with implementing new native features into their SDKs. So this is one thing that you also might want to consider when choosing the SDKs, the time it takes to implement new native features. However, in practice, often you're not gonna need the very brand newest features anyways. So and finally, there's actually many different JavaScript SDK choices available to create your mobile app. I'm talking here about only JavaScript, but there are also cross-platform SDKs that where you write a C, for instance. I think Xamarin is one of them. So you write your app, we have one app, same one code base. You write it in C, not in JavaScript, but in C, and then you have essentially also a cross-platform mobile app with one code base. But JavaScript, I think, it's very well suited for non-developers. So this is the main focus of this course. And here there are also different choices when it comes to JavaScript. For instance, when you decide to use Drupal as a backend, there is certainly a Drupal gap that you should check out. It's made with PhoneGap. It's completely integrated with Drupal. On the website, there is actually Accelerator Drupal gap comparison SDK. So you might want to take a look at that and also check out Tyler's great website. So in a nutshell, if you're a non-developer, it's my really honest belief that it's the smartest thing you can do is go with JavaScript, have create your two mobile apps, so for Android and Swift, to create having one code base with JavaScript because it's easier to learn. And in my view, this is certainly the best thing that you can do if you really want to go down the app development road. Thanks for watching.